Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of the Rams pre-draft show presented by Zillow with Maurice Jones-Drew, DeMarco Farr. I am JB Long, and we're here at the Zillow Draft HQ at LAFD Air Operations again. What a setting. And It's time for the Rams to make some picks.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, I was going to say, man.
Welcome back. Yes, sir.
You weren't here yesterday. You didn't get to see all the stuff, the moving and the washing and the flying.
We're taking off in Helicopter 1 pretty soon. Did you know that?
I watched you guys with Cameron. Great show. I did get here in time to see the Rams trade back, which we'll talk about. And they come into this Friday with a second-round pick, 46 overall. A third-round selection, 90 overall. We'll get your ideas in terms of where the Rams might go with those picks. But first, let's talk about the Rams basically getting their wish. I think it was pretty clear that their desire, their heart was probably to trade back at the end of the first round last night. Here's how I conceptualize the price that the Falcons paid or that the Rams paid for a extra first-round pick next year. 26 becomes 46, so you move back 20 picks. And 101 becomes 242. So your third-round comp pick, which I want to talk more about in a second, becomes a seventh-round pick. That's essentially the price that you pay to stack an extra first-round pick on the next spring. Seems fair to me.
That's a good deal.
That's a good deal.
That's a good deal.
I mean, I would take that.
Yeah, that's a great deal. Absolutely. To get back in the first round next year, I still can't believe that deal was made. I'm happy from a Rams perspective, but if you're a Falcons fan, you're still trying to figure out, okay, why. But each team is different.
You
can tell me why?
Yeah,
go ahead.
You want me to tell you why?
Yeah.
Okay, so two things. One, the way the draft fell, Atlanta really wanted Pierce. That's who they were going to draft. I want to say they were at 16 or 15. But the way it fell, Alabama was there, right? So they were like, okay, we're going to take the best player available on our board here, and then we're going to use whatever we can to go get the other guy because they're switching from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3 pass rushing. And so they wanted to get more pressure on the edge. So in all honesty, they're in kind of a more win now mode than you would think, and they needed those guys. So you got lucky enough that the kid from Bama falls to you, right, who's a great edge player, and then the guy that you really wanted, which was Pierce out of Tennessee, who they did a ton of work on, which is, I heard about this last night, Gerald McCoy, who played for Raheem Morris, it was in communication with the Falcons, had talked about, he was telling us, they're going to pick Pierce here, they're going to pick Pierce here, and they didn't, and he was all upset because he was ready to say all this stuff, and then they came back up because that's how much they like Pierce.
And they got him. 31 sacks last year. I think that was almost dead last in the league or second to last. Yeah. So I get it. You need pass rush to be successful in this league, but I mean, to give up a first rounder in 2026 when you don't really know what's there, you got to do what you got to do. But that's a steep price.
This is my question: you're going to spend that? You're not going to spend that on a quarterback because you got your quarterback in the future already. True. If you want to go all in and you have two guys that you're confident in, I can see that. I can understand that. Again, next year's draft, you just don't know. Right now, you had a chance to get two premier pass rushers. You go get them.
When I saw the Giants trade up at 25 with Houston, right?
Yes.
I was like, that was the package. That probably, steals some of the Rams' thunder. And it turns out the Rams got an even better package from Atlanta, so it worked out really well. Continue to look at Raheem Morris as one of my favorites in the National Football League.
Yes.
Great guy.
How valuable now can that 26 pick become? Well, it's a factor of how do the Falcons play next year. The Rams go to Atlanta and play them head-to-head. They were 8-9 last season. They play a second-place schedule. That means Commanders, Vikings, Colts. They're like-place finishers. They play the entire NFC West, right? So that's going to be a gauntlet for them.
Close, yeah.
And they play the entire AFC East. So I don't want to fade the Falcons, but kind of fading the Falcons in 25.
Best case scenario, Rams win the Super Bowl, Falcons lose every game. Just saying.
I mean,
I'm gonna put it out there.
I like one of those.
I'm gonna put it out there for the football gods.
Come on.
So we, next year we got 1 and 32.
That's a big ask.
We're solid.
Come on, that's awesome.
Thinking about it overnight, though, I'm sure you guys did too. I was thinking of all the points that it ties back to this trade with the Falcons, right? And I started with the run on tackles and offensive linemen last night, 5 OTs plus a few guards, and I thought, man, am I glad the Rams signed Alec Jackson. And am I glad that Rob Havenstein decided to continue his career, got those shoulders cleaned up, because I still think the Rams need to invest in their offensive line, perhaps as soon as today, but to know who your bookends are, it was a more comfortable place to be when you saw those run on offensive tackles.
I mean, I'm with you. It's always good to have your guys in uniform so you can hit the ground running in OTAs and minicamps. But, man, some of those guys that came off the board yesterday, oh, my God, they are road graders.
Yes.
They're going to be great. There was a run on bigs, and I like that the league has gone that way, how you have to invest in what's going on up front. I think that's most important. I think today is going to be a run on skill. There's going to be a lot of backs, receivers, all that. But I like in the first round what they did was you get guys that knock the quarterback down and vice versa, guys that protect your quarterback. That's the game.
It's a copycat league. Yeah. What has Philly done the last 5 years, right, of drafting O-linemen and D-linemen and all these things, and then they go out and dominate the Super Bowl? Everyone, it's so funny how the league works. Like, whoever wins the Super Bowl, everyone tries to copy that. And so you're seeing a lot of teams saying, we need to invest in the O-line. We need to control the line of scrimmage more. We need to make defensively how many 330-pounder guys that don't rush the quarterback have you seen get drafted in the first round? Those guys are second. I mean, we talked about played for us, went to the Giants, went from Bama, D-tackle we had. Ashawn in this draft would have went top 10.
Oh, my God.
But when he came out, that wasn't a value, so he went in the second round, right? Now, controlling the line of scrimmage and stopping the run is the most important thing in the NFL again.
It's funny how we talk about it's a quarterback-driven league until we watch Saquon Barkley play. And it's completely different. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
The other thing that I want to tie it back to is Jared Verse and the pick the Rams made in the first round last year. When you look at Atlanta desperate to double dip on their edge, right, and go from 31st, as DeMarco said, in pass rush to make a giant leap this year, the comfort of knowing that you already got the best edge rusher in last year's draft, I think affords you the luxury of sitting and being patient and letting the draft come to you and trading out of the first round here this year. It also validates to me, once and for all and finally, not that I had any questions, that the move they made for Braden Fisk last year, okay, well, now you're back in the second round and you were able to layer in another 26 first-round pick and you got a Rookie of the Year caliber season out of Fisk already with 3 more to come on his rookie contract. Like, you just cycle it back around. That was a 12-month win for me.
About to make their biggest jump of their life from year 1 to year 2. So if you thought they were great, their rookie years, wait until you see them this year.
Well, also, too, it validates what you did in the free agency, too, right? You hit on the guys. You went and got guys that you needed. You wanted to fit some holes, and you didn't have a, I have to have this, or I got to have that. It's more of like, if it falls to me, awesome. If not,
I feel that way about receiver. Only 3 receivers were taken in the first round, so the league is telling you, hey, this wasn't the highest end receiver class compared to last year.
Right.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better about, signing Tutu Atwell to a 1-year, $10 million contract and recruiting and signing up for Devontae Adams and what's left of his prime. Like, that all in retrospect looks even more solid than it did at the time.
Got a crystal ball up there, knowing where the league is headed. I love it. Yeah.
I saw a lot of this. I'm sure you did too. That additional first-round pick gives the Rams the ammo next year to go and draft Matthew Stafford's eventual replacement. There's a lot of Arch Manning conversation out there. And, look, I have a lot of reaction to this. And the first is, I just want to say, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Makes a ton of sense. I get it. But in the meantime, can I request of our fan base and our audience, please set your sights a little bit higher and consider the possibility of using it at next year's trade deadline to chase a championship right now with Matthew Stafford.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Okay. I can see
you
that.
Said next year or maybe like tomorrow.
Yeah, or this summer. Right. You maybe get to
like,
August.
It's an asset. Yeah.
Like maybe it's like, hey, we're looking at a corner that used to be here.
Right.
And you just, again, I don't know if that's the price, but I think, again, the Rams they're playing with house money. So they're looking in the future like, hey, we're comfortable where we are now. We're 6 months ahead. We're 7 months ahead trying to figure out who we can go and get. Very similar to that Super Bowl year, right? You traded for Vaughn. You had Jalen Ramsey come the year before that. Like, making those plans ahead of time when the league is kind of everyone's in this right now mode and you're looking ahead. I mean, that's dangerous.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't draft Matthew Stafford, right? They used a first-round pick to get him through other mechanisms.
I like the way your brain is thinking. However, I wouldn't mind that,
You're still thinking quarterback today.
I'm just saying, down the road, next year, a couple of years, you never know. You're going to have to restock the cabinet at some point at quarterback. It would be nice. That'd be fun to be in certain sort of business there. Yeah.
I've got a tangent for you.
Yeah.
Will you humor me on this one? Sean McVay doesn't strike me as the type to walk away from a double first-round pick draft class. And I'm not suggesting that's still top of anyone's mind, but because we've kind of lived through the era of what will Sean McVay do next and how long will this initial tenure with the Rams last, I love the fact, and I sleep easier at night, that the Rams are willing to trade this year's first-round pick back into waters where they feel comfortable picking right here and now and fortifying this year's team. But also, I think having next year like, here's what I'm getting
Plant
at, right?
in the garden, yeah.
Are you old enough to remember the Sean McVay's window kind of being tied to the Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp nucleus? Okay, well, he's already made it to life after Aaron Donald. Here comes life after Cooper Kupp. And I now firmly believe that we'll see the Sean McVay era continue beyond Matthew Stafford. I think that's fair to expect now based on where they are as an organization.
And the moves they've made.
Made. That's right. And one other thing, because
that's a pretty good surmise right there, what he just did.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, and just to circle back on one more thing from the past, the all-in mortgage their future, making a myth of the salary cap inbounds that the Rams took for all those seasons. Okay, 21 championship, 22 you took it on the chin. You clean your books, you get ready for the future. In the meantime, all you did was win double-digit games in 23, 24, a division championship, a playoff game. And tell me right now who's better set up for the present and the future, 1 foot in the present, 1 foot in the future, than the Los Angeles Rams.
Not too many.
I mean, the only team you could say maybe Philly, but other than that, there's not many.
For a franchise that
pretty good,
apparently mortgaged its future, had a ton of success along the way to get back to where they are now, where, hey, as long as Matthew Stafford goes, you're a contender. As long as Sean McVay is here, you're a contender. You got Defensive Rookie of the Year candidates and winners coming up through the pipeline, and you got chance to extend your rookie picks coming up. You got money to do it.
Yeah.
You
Good
got
players.
Cap and capital are both exactly where you want them.
Well,
right now.
I think we talked about it yesterday. When you have a head coach and a GM that they're aligned, and a president that's all aligned, and they're all thinking the same way, and we can go and get this guy, and then you can make adjustments and fit him into your scheme or switch your scheme to fit said person, good things happen, right? There's not a lot of turmoil. We're all pulling in the same direction,
right?
And instead of this guy's going this way or we need that, and coach no, the Rams have for a long time, and we haven't really talked about it. They've been pulling in the right direction, and then you're starting to see that movement come with the draft and the way the organization's set up, like you said, the capital and the players and all the things that you can do going forward. That's because they're all on the same page. They're not even on they're in the same book. They're reading the same book, but we're reading the same page, same paragraph right now. Right. And that to me
at the same speed.
The same right. Like it's all going in the same direction. And when you have that, that's tough to stop.
You know what's crazy? What kills good runs in the National Football League, whatever. It's not usually guys that age out. It's usually ego at the top.
Oh, ego.
Ego
always.
at the top. Especially when you have success.
Yeah.
It's me. I got the players, I'm coaching the players, and you start pulling apart. And then there's a fissure down in the locker room. So I don't think you have that here. Obviously you don't have that here. You're simpatico on what you want to do now and in the future. And you have to put this into account. 2 seasons you have been bailed out with slow starts and then fast finishes. And Matthew Stafford resurrecting his career. Sean McVay getting re-energized. This whole team restarting again, refusing to let go of the rope. And here you are again sitting in a pretty good situation where you don't really need to overextend yourself in the first round to restock what you already have. Now, going back to edge rusher and Fisk and Verse, love those guys. Great, they're on the roster. If there's another one I could add to that, I would absolutely do it.
You would. That's great.
Absolutely.
That's the ego talk.
Especially at that spot. You can never have enough. Or if there's a top-flight corner there, I would be interested in that pick. But that's the luxury of smart planning.
One more thing before we get to what to do today, which is the premise of this show. I get that I'm taking the roundabout way to get there, but you guys talking about that dynamic atop the organization, you're observing a lot of other places, a lot of other franchises. Decisions are being made with the here and now and the make this choice to preserve my job or to extend my tenure. And I think it's a real privilege to work for the Rams with, the organization that they have running currently, because they have one now in the present and the past, and they intend to continue to winning together in the future. And so they can make longer-term decisions like the one they made last night, as opposed to jumping.
I can tell you.
And one point, I'm glad you're doing it, but you have to in this market.
Yeah,
you have to always keep chasing the bling and the ring.
So I'll tell you this: in 2000, I want to say it was 2008, we drafted Derek Harvey and Quentin Groves, 2 DNs, because we weren't we had got older at DN, but it wasn't a need. We had some other needs and guys that needed to be taken care of, and we didn't do it. And we went out and this is in Jackson. We went out and signed Joey Porter. We went out and signed all these people, all this bling, and the team just fell apart because The coach was chasing the ring, and the GM wanted to build for success, right? And it just went this way, it split. And so, like I said before, when you being a part of this organization and to see the way things are ran, it's a breath of fresh air every day you come in here.
One other thing I want to comment on the trade they made with the Falcons is that was pick 101. That was part of the package they sent to Atlanta. Remember where that pick came from? It was the third-round comp the Rams got, back-to-back third-round picks for Raheem Morris getting that head coaching job. So who gets to have that pick and utilize that pick? It's Raheem Morris and the Falcons, and that just seems like uniquely and distinctly Rams. I think Tony Pastore probably had something to do with that.
And we'll go ahead and throw this in there, sweeten it up a little bit.
But it feels right. I think you put that out there, and it comes around with a first-round pick.
Good things happen to good people.
Yeah, there you go. There's always an opportunity cost, though, when you choose not to pick in the first round of an NFL draft. And there were some players I wanted to highlight at the end of last night that I think will bear monitoring. James Pierce right behind that trade at 26, the edge to Atlanta, of course. But how about Malachi Starks, a safety for Baltimore?
Good safety.
Anytime the Ravens do something, you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's going to work for them.
Well, you cut their other safety, Marcus Williams, and then you bring this kid in, and he's just like Kyle Hamilton.
Plug him in.
You literally can say, Kyle, you can play the roof, and Starks, you can go down, or vice versa. We can. Oh my God! Listen, I got a text. Right. I got a text by the Ravens. One of my college roommates is a Ravens coach, and he said we're just trying to get better.
Oh yeah,
which lets me know they're excited about what they're doing.
You just did with him.
Exactly.
Yes.
I wrote down Josh Connerly, tackled to Washington at 29, and Jahad Campbell, off-ball linebacker to the Eagles at 31.
Love him.
Those are some of the other ones
Good players.
that I mentioned.
Yes.
All right, to day 2. To this evening, where the Rams come in with 2 picks, second-round pick, 46 overall, and a third-round selection, 90 overall. You've kind of touched on some of your preferences already. Just go ahead and get right to the chase.
Story of the draft is still out there with Shedeur Sanders and where he might go. Cleveland has, 2 of the first 5 picks today?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens and what ripple effect that will do to the draft. And when do the running backs start coming off the board? So all this before the Rams pick at 46. But if there's a guy that I would target, it would be that corner. It would be Trey Amos. That would be the dude.
You take Trey Amos over Will.
Absolutely.
Over,
Will Johnson.
In a heartbeat. Plug him right in, and away we go. I think he fits anybody's scheme. I love the way he plays. And like I said, if there's not an edge rusher, which I would always take, that's like having too many sharp knives in the drawer. Can never have enough.
Yeah.
But if you can find that corner, a guy you can plug in, just some more blood back there. No disrespect to the guys that are already here, but this is what the draft is for, restocking. I just love the way he plays.
Some people compare Will Johnson to Champ Bailey. And you can give up, Champ Bailey out there. And, we like to play a lot of off coverage, eyes to the quarterback. If you have a feel for the ball, I'd like that. I would say this. For me, in the first round, I always want to go big guys, right? Guys that impact the line of scrimmage. In the second round, I like to go explosive players, right? So I'll be aggressive and give me a guy that gets picks, right? In the secondary, a guy that's going to be an Asante Samuel type of guy that's going to be a little bit more aggressive. Or offensively, it's a guy that gives me touchdowns and not first downs. Explosive players that I can throw 5-yard routes to and they can take it the distance. Again, I'm going to talk about Travion Henderson from Ohio State that I believe again, adding to this running back room, continue to add to this running back room as we want to get into December and January football. We got to be able to control the line of scrimmage. We got to be able to run the football. And I want fresh backs late in the season and late in games. And if you can add him, great in pass pro, just like Kyron, catches the ball out of the backfield very well, can run routes like a wide receiver, and then he's your home run hitter. He has the speed. I know Blake Corum ran 4.5. Kyron ran like a 4.6 or whatever, 4.7. This is a 4.4 guy that can take those screens that we try to see and get to the backs to the house. He also can do different things. We talk about versatility. Imagine having a tight end and a running back split out wide, and they're covered by 2 linebackers, and now you have a mismatch there as well.
Could today be a tight end day? Could you see that?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it could as well.
All right, a couple of tight ends to mention here. Terrence Ferguson, Mason Taylor,
great
perhaps.
player, Oregon. Gosh, dog. Yeah, Ferguson's really good.
Blocking not required. That was my versatility thing. I think we've seen enough of the dual threat tight ends and how functional they are in this offense, but it would be nice to have one of those, hybrid types that you can line up at H and just say,
but that
go
was
beat
Higbee,
that guy.
When he came out, he was a hybrid guy, and then he kind of transformed into a Y.
Yeah, Higbee's my Rambo. Get your butt in the line of scrimmage and block, and then I'll throw it to you on a screen and run it into the end zone. him. But I'm, receiver type.
DeMarco, was it you a moment ago that was saying you expect a run on skill
atop
the second
today.
round?
Right.
Maybe receiver in particular?
How many went in the first round?
3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's going to be a run on receivers, yes.
Okay.
Ooh, there's a lot of guys at receiver, too.
What do you got?
You like?
I mean, I know that Ohio State has 2 guys. I've heard a lot about them. Really didn't get a chance to break all of them down. But to me, it depends on what style you're trying to go with. Are you going to go with the Puka Nacua style, right? The bigger, stronger guy? Or are you going to go with which you have 2 of those on your roster already?
We got 2 hammerheads already.
Or are you going to go the Tutu Atwell speed guy, right?
If there is a run, I'll be curious to see if the Rams have another opportunity to trade back at 46.
Yeah. I'm sure they will.
If they like
trade
the bucket,
back at 46.
If they like the bucket of players, maybe not back a full round, but if they move back a little bit more and pick up another day 3 pick along the way.
I feel like we're watching poker. You know what I mean? Wow, that's you're going to move back again? Wow, okay. At some point, you got to start picking players.
Oh, no. I'm not saying back it up. I'm just
interesting. And then
if there's a run on an edge or a receiver group,
what if there's
that's
an
what I'm saying.
off-ball backer that's available?
Of course.
That the Rams can take?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking a team might be desperate
interested
to grab
in
before the talent pool runs out.
Well, you got to remember this, too. There's a lot of teams. The NFL is so crazy year to year, but this year there's a ton of teams that have big, massive holes on their team, right? It could be offensive line. It could be receiver. It could be defense. If you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, for example, just to throw them out there, they have holes on the offensive line and in their secondary. Mm-hmm. They have to fill. You have to fill. So they have some needs where they have to move up and make some things go. I think if you're looking at Houston traded back. They have 3 big holes on their O-line.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have to go and get some guys. So I think there's going to be opportunity for the Rams to trade back for sure if they wanted to.
And there's going to be some players available, pros that get cut, that are available, that you can bring in to help you out. Yes.
Let's finish up with just a couple of other headlines from last night. Our old friend James Gladstone and Jake Temme in Jacksonville, Maurice's Jags, in Les Snead's words, living their best lives.
No question.
With that move that they made for Travis Hunter. Pretty cool that the Rams will travel to face both of the top 2 picks next year, and Cam Ward in Nashville and in Jacksonville.
It's funny. I actually did a radio show in Jacksonville, and I talked about Jake and how he shunned me on a couple guys that I was like, I don't know if I like, and those guys ended up being great players.
Yeah.
Not surprised they did what they did. Excited for what they did. So excited that my son texted me during the draft, LFG, and I was like, hey, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth when you talk to me. But I understand Jags to the Super Bowl, so hopefully the Jags and Rams in the Super Bowl this year, we're all happy.
What about the radio guys I work with, intern? He was so happy about the Travis Hunter pick. He goes, that's going to be the biggest star in Jacksonville Jaguar history. And he was standing right next to this dude. I'm like, wait, there might be more. No. He'll be one of many. Yes.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not, I'm here with the Rams. We're not worried about it.
It's funny
that's the past.
How soon we forget.
No question.
I noted some other first-round rookies on the Rams 2025 schedule. Ward in Nashville, Hunter, Jacksonville. Tet McMillan in Carolina, first receiver taken. Michael Williams going to the 49ers at number 11.
I heard the Niners tried to trade up for him and couldn't move.
All right, so those will all be there, and then hopefully either Maxwell Hairston from Buffalo or Josh Simmons, Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
Where's my single? Edge rusher.
Today?
Right there. I'm just saying.
That's where your heart is?
Edge rusher,
we just
corner,
gave you 2 of them.
Never go wrong. They always pan out.
You just had 2 guys
I'm just
last
saying.
year.
I'm talking to the solo.
He's suffering through Mike Hoyt withdrawal.
I hear
a little bit. Come on. Who's going to fill that role? Thank you.
That was a great role, too.
Yes, it was.
I was sad he left.
Yes.
Buffalo got a great one.
Wonderful to see you guys.
Good
Can't
to see you.
Wait to meet some new Rams starting tonight here at the Rams Drafts headquarters presented by Zillow. So wonderful to be here with all of you. Let us know who you want to see today in the draft class in the comments section. And then we've got one more show for you tomorrow at the conclusion of day 3. We'll be joined by Rams head coach Sean McVay to recap all the day 3 picks. Right now that includes a 4th rounder, 4 6th rounders, and a 7th rounder.
Wow.
So a lot of that will be moving. We'll see what that ends up being, but we'll recap it all tomorrow with Sean from the Zillow Draft HQ here at LAFD Air Operations. From Maurice Jones-Drew, I'm DeMarco Farr, JB Long. Have a great Friday and the rest of your weekend.